Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chachi Chats, where I do music video reactions and I guess now album reviews as well, because, drumroll please, the new Kylie Minogue album has just dropped, and I am extremely excited, happy about the fact that I even have like the actual physical CD. I haven't opened it yet because I'm kind of just waiting for this, so I guess this is kind of like also an unboxing, just because it has been a very long time since I've bought an actual CD. I actually don't have a CD player anymore, so this is kind of similar to buying a cassette tape for me right now. But I did buy the album on iTunes, so I have it like as a, you know, MP3 format, and then I also listen to it on Spotify whenever I can, like as often as I can, really. But I must say, like, I'm really, sorry, I'm like in the middle of like cutting it. I'm really excited about this album because this is just such a like great concept for Kylie. It's so like in her style. It's just, it feels like it's gonna be very effortless. Ooh, I actually really like the way this feels. Like it feels like a nice heavy like book cover. Okay, so I guess we're just gonna open it. Cool. So right off the bat, we have like the intergalactic kind of like motif that's been going on with this. Cool. I really like that it's kind of like a little story, like a storybook. This is like Kylie Disco. Then you have like the, I don't know if I should give all of it away, but basically you have a lot of the album artwork and then the lyrics, which I've already read the lyrics to the album. Love the lyrics. I believe Kylie co-wrote most of the songs, if not all of them. Cool. I love this little lyric book. Cool. And then this CD comes in like a sleeve. And there we go. Nice. I'm like looking for more stuff. I'm like, is there anything else? No, that's it. BMG. Cool. This is super exciting because I just like to have the physical, you know, like I'm a fan of audiobooks, but I love to have like an actual like paper book with me, you know? I'm sure a lot of you would agree with that. Man, Kylie really delivered a huge album, which is so exciting. These days you don't really get that many songs, but it's a nice full 16-piece Disco Deluxe CD album, and it starts off with Magic, and we have the album version. I am a huge fan of this song. Even if like it wasn't a single, I would be like, I love this song, it's so good, it should be a single. It is a single. I think the performance on Graham Norton was great. I think that it's just been such a well-received track, such a well-received single. I'm not sure how it's done like chart-wise, but I'm a huge fan of this song. I really love like the catchy do you. I'm sure some of you might have even seen my music video reaction to this, which kind of tells you that I'm a big fan of this song. So I'm just really happy that it has a longer version on the album, so we can just kind of like, I wish every song had a longer version of itself, honestly, because when I listened to this album, I was so sad when I got to the end. It's like, no, I don't want it to be over. But alas, you know, all good things come to an end at some point, right? So next up on the album is Miss a Thing. I am a huge fan of Miss a Thing. I really enjoy the way that it starts off with like dance, and then it just like the opening instrumental, it just feels still kind of like Disco Galactic that like Kylie is doing, but it also feels very much like in line with maybe like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like More from Fever, very slightly, in a sense that like they're both the first song on this new trajectory that Kylie is on, and also like Fever and Light Years are very kind of like disco-y millennial, and I felt like this album was very millennial in that way. It was very reminiscent to those days, which was when I first became a fan around 18 years ago. So it to me just felt so nice and nostalgic in that way, but also still modern and current, and I really appreciated like the disco elements. Also, if you've never heard of the band Alcazar, I'm a huge fan of Alcazar. They were around in the millennium times, and Casino and Alcazarized are some of the best like disco pop albums you'll ever hear, so I definitely recommend Alcazar if you're a fan of this album. Anyway, back to Kylie. I think Miss a Thing is probably one of my top favorite tracks from the album, and definitely like a standout track for me. I don't know if I want this to be a single or not. I wouldn't be unhappy if it was a single, but I think it's just such a great song. So next up we have Real Groove, which is the third track on the album. I have really grown to like the song more and more, especially because of the Infinite Disco performance, and then also I realize now that like the song when it opens sounds a little similar to Hideaway by Kiza. I'm not saying that that's a bad or bad thing. I mean, I love that song. So I think it's cool how it has that build up in the intro similar to Kiza's, and then it kind of goes into like a very like disco funky kind of sound with the vocoder, and very kind of Daft Punky meets like Pharrell productions, even though this is most likely Sky Adams, but who I think did an amazing job on this album with Kylie. And yeah, I think Real Groove, my only qualm about the lyrics is that it's a little similar to this like kind of, for me, a tired idea of like comparisons with like, oh, you're with someone that's like me, but they're nothing like me, they're never gonna be me. And it kind of reminds me of She's Not Me by Madonna. And there's even like a few other songs out there in the pop world that have the same concept. And to me, it's kind of like not that original, but like Real Groove is such a good song on its like in general that I don't really mind it that much. But yeah, I would definitely think that this is a great song. I wouldn't put this on my standouts list, and I kind of forgot about it when I was going through it initially, but I still really enjoy it now compared to when I first heard the album. So next up we have Monday Blues, and when I first saw like the title of this album, I thought it was going to be a little bit on the cheesy side, and I'm like so thankful that it is, but not at all like how I thought. It's so reminiscent of like the Light Years days, like with Cuckoo, if anyone remembers Cuckoo, which used to be like my favorite song on Light Years, which is kind of a fun fact. And I just love the rhythm of this song. It's such a departure from like the disco-y sound, even though it's early on in the album, but it's so like fun and cheerful. So I even read a review where it kind of like said it's like the conga line of the album, which I can totally see that. It's so quintessentially Kylie. It's so fun. It's upbeat. I love it. The like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is the weekend, and it's just such a fun song. I'm really happy for Monday Blues, and then it goes into this crazy bit like towards the end that is also like so like unexpected. She throws in some references to disco, like Hustle and like doing the hustle, and also like Earth, Wind, and Fire, and you know, references like that. But to me, this kind of feels very similar to like what she was doing in Golden, and it almost feels like a carryover, which I'm totally fine with because I loved Golden as well. But this track is so much fun. It was definitely a standout for me because I wasn't expecting it to sound like this based on the song title. Okay, so next is Supernova. Man, this one I think is like a highlight for sure of the album. I already loved the title of it. I was already expecting something like kind of grandiose anyway, something cool and intergalactic. This song is just like how I imagined it to sound like. It's also like so like fast-paced, but in a good way, not in a like overwhelming way, and like it's really brought to life in the Infinite Disco performance. I was blown away by the Infinite Disco performance. It was just so cool. I loved the way she was going through the lasers, and like it was just, it's hard to put it into words, but it was just amazing. Like it was just like Light Years 2.0. Light Years the song, not the album, but like, and the fact that she even performed Light Years. I can't remember if she did it in conjunction with Supernova, but like such a great show Infinite Disco was, and Supernova was a huge highlight for me. So if you get a chance, guys, to watch the Infinite Disco somehow, I want to rewatch it so badly. I don't know, I'll try to figure out how to rewatch it, but yeah, Supernova, so good. I would be so happy if this was a single, or at least like the opener to her tour. Fingers crossed. So next we have the wonderful Say Something, the beautiful Say Something. This song came out during a time where I, and all of us really, if you think about it, we're in the middle of like this pandemic, and it was to me such a breath of like fresh air from being indoors so much that I was so happy that it came out. I think the song will always have a special place in my heart. If anything, it'll be like the song of 2020 for me, like the theme song to 2020 for me. It's such a great track, and it's not like even very disco-y. It's kind of like an outlier for the album itself in terms of cohesion, but I really appreciate it, and I love the song so much. It's just, I'll always have good memories with this song. Oh, like when I see her live one day, I'll probably be crying when I hear this. I'll be like, this reminds me of 2020. Yeah, and I also really love the fact that she looks so Goldfrapp, ooh la la, in this video. I don't know if anyone's seen that video, but if you haven't, I'll put a link below because it's such a great music video as well. Goldfrapp is just such a great band in general. Allison. So yeah, Say Something. Amazing. I loved all the performances. My favorite has to be the one that she did on, I think, like Jimmy Fallon or something, where it's like recorded on an old 80s BBC video camera, so it looks like a VHS mixed with green screen. I don't know. It's so cool. Her vocals are great. She's so amazing live. Love the song. So the next song on the album after Say Something is Last Chance. And, you know, Last Chance for me was definitely like a standout track. I love the verse, I love the pre-chorus, I love the chorus. And then like the chorus, I don't know why, but the chorus reminds me of something and I can't put my finger on it, but in any case, it's such a solid track. I would say this is in my top 3 probably in the whole album. Yeah, I think it's such a fun disco pop track. When I got to this point in the album, it made me realize like, man, Kylie really like is making this look easy, but I can tell there's so many layers and so much great production and fantastic melodies that like, I don't know how she just nails it. She just nailed it. I feel like this album, she just absolutely nailed it, and I think it's just such a great surprise. Maybe not surprise, I don't know, but like such a great addition to her discography. This is her 15th album, and I'm just like, man, this is just a fantastic album so far. Yeah. So next up we have I Love It. When the first few seconds I heard it, I was like, whoa, this is very disco-y. Now that I've heard it not so many times, but enough times, I can safely say that I really enjoy this track. I really like it a lot. Tiny bit upset that this is like the single, like the next single, I think, because it's not for me like a standout track. I think it's great. Love the disco sound. However, I don't think it's one of the strongest on this album just because there's so many super strong, great songs. But it does get stuck in my head. It does have that earworm quality to it. It's very, I would say like easy to like for maybe like the general public. But yeah, in the like Come On Let the Music Play sounds very kind of like Gloria Estefan, like I can't remember what song I'm thinking of, but it does have that kind of element of like Rhythm of the Night sort of, which Kylie is very familiar with. So yeah, I think this is, I would give this song like in my top 11, 12, but I wouldn't put it in my top 10, I don't think. I'm not really sure actually. So the next song is Where Does the DJ Go? This one reminds me so much of 100 Degrees, that Christmas song that Kylie did with Danny a few years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, which was also a very disco song. I think for me personally, this song, it goes a little too fast, and it has this like little horse trotting sound that makes it feel faster. I think for me it would be great as a running song, but I think it's just not my cup of tea. I don't really know why. I think it goes a little too fast. It's a little too cheesy for my taste, which is funny because I love Monday Blues and that one's pretty cheesy. It's just not my flavor of cheesy. So I wouldn't put this in my top 10. But it's one of the songs where if I heard it out somewhere, I would be just so happy to hear like, oh my gosh, where does the DJ go? I feel like this is a fan favorite. I'm not really sure, but for like the title is so fun and so kitsch and camp that I'm sure a lot of people were like excited to hear this song. So maybe that's why people already liked it before listening to it. But for me, like it's just a little too I liked 100 Degrees, but it's not like one of my favorite ever songs in the world. I just think I liked it so much because it was Danny plus Kylie. I mean, come on. But yeah, so that's Where Does the DJ Go? So the next song we have on the album is Dance Floor Darling, and I gotta tell you, this is my favorite song on the whole album. I absolutely love how it starts. I love the pre-chorus. I love the chorus. I love the weird build-up towards the end that just gets all wild and Daft Punky. With the vocoders and the instrumentation, it's got everything. Like, if this became a single, I would be so over the moon. But I mean, I don't know, she did perform it in Infinite Disco, and it was a great performance. That means that there's a possibility in the future, maybe, of having it as a single. But I just love the chorus so much. It's just such a feel-good song. I have been listening to this in the car, at home. Like, I can't get it out of my head. It's such a great track. It's definitely one of my top favorite songs of the year, probably. I mean, like, Kylie really nailed it with this album, and this to me is like one of the pinnacles of the album. So I'm really happy this song exists because, I don't know, it's just such a beautiful song. It's definitely a standout. So next track we have Unstoppable, which I love the way it starts out. I think it sounds so like reminiscent to like a Michael Jackson song, kind of like Pretty Young Thing, for example, or another song by Michael Jackson, I can't remember right now, but like I love the unstoppable part. I think the chorus is fantastic. It just pulls the song in and just makes you like, oh, okay, like, I really love this, like, ooh, ah! The like, forever and ever, da 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 da. This such a great song. Melodically speaking, I think this is just a beautiful track. I think it's definitely in my top 10. I wouldn't say it's in my top 3, but it's definitely my top 10. So far, I would say top 3 would be Dance Floor Darling and Miss a Thing, and then I will reveal the next top 3 song. So with Celebrate You, when I first heard it, this was just such a standout track for me that I was like, this is my favorite song on the whole album. Now it's in my top 5, for sure it's in my top 5. I really enjoy the way it like flows. The ebbs and flows are so ethereal. I love the message behind it. It feels really like a song that Kylie has for her fans, kind of like Sincerely Yours back in the golden days. I don't know. I think it's just such a great track. I think it's even kind of Christmassy in a way because of the bells, but I love this song. I think it's just such a like warm cup of like coffee, hot chocolate. Like, it's just so sweet sounding and so like yeah, it just gives me such good vibes. I think it's such a really nice song, especially if you want to celebrate a friend of yours, or in Kylie's case, just anyone. She wants to celebrate you, you know? Till You Love Somebody wasn't a song that really stuck out to me in the beginning, but now that I've heard this album a few times now, I think it's such a beautiful song as well. Similar to Celebrate You in a way, but not too similar. I'm glad that like each song has its own kind of personality in a way, because when I first heard it, I felt like it almost felt too cohesive, where it was like, oh, it's sounding almost repetitive. But you know, I don't feel that way at all now. I think that Till You Love Somebody is such a beautiful song, and it's like the pre-chorus is great. I love the chorus as well. This is just such a great song. I would definitely put this in my top 10 for sure. Not top 15, top 10. Yeah, and like that super high note, which I can't do. But I just think this is a really great song. I think that it just gives you that warm feeling again that Kylie's so good at. Just like Celebrate You or Dance for Darling. So, Fine Wine. I wasn't sure what to think about this song because I was just like, what is this going to sound like? Like, you don't really know. But love the chorus, jump in my ride, beep beep. It's so fun. It reminds me of like Disco Down or like So Now Goodbye. it's just got this such a playful Light Years kind of element to it. Light Years the album, not the song. And I love that she has like un, deux, trois, ich, ni, san. So she says Japanese and French, and like it's such a playful, funny, silly song. And it kind of breaks up from this kind of like disco-y sound a little bit, but it's such a Kylie song as well. Like if you've heard enough of her B-sides or unreleased songs, you'll be like, oh yeah, this definitely is like a total Kylie song. So I'm just really happy it exists because it's such a fun one to listen to. I think it's such a fun one to listen to anyway. All right, and so we're getting towards the end of the album, and Hey Lonely is definitely one of my favorite songs on this album. I definitely would have this in my top 3, along with Dance Floor Darling and Miss a Thing. It's just like, it makes me feel so like joyous when I hear it, and I just love the idea of singing this to someone one day. And the lyrics are so special. Like if you listen to the lyrics, it's so like, I don't know, it's a beautiful song. Like I almost like cried the second time I heard it because I was like, this is such a beautiful song. Tears of joy, not like sadness. It's just like, it's such a like great song to listen to. It's like, might even be my favorite. I don't even know. It's so tough to decide what my favorite song is on the album, but it's definitely in my top 3. Like it's so good. It's really, 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 really good. Yeah, I'm just like so thankful for this album. And now we're at the end of the album, which I was really sad about this because I didn't want to listen to the last song because I didn't want it to be over, but you know, alas, good things come to an end at some point. And Spotlight is such a great track. I would put it in my top 10, but towards the latter end of the top 10 because it's not one of my favorites. But I love the lyrics like, I'm proud of you. I don't know, it just makes me feel good. I'm like, thank you. I'm proud of me too a little bit. Yeah, it's I love the concept of Spotlight as well. I think it's so perfectly tied to like disco because, you know, spotlights and disco lights and things. A lot of lighting going on in disco. It's got a little bit of that vocoder as well that's kind of intertwined throughout the whole album. Kind of like Daft Punky in that way as well. I know I keep saying Daft Punk, but they're like the only band I know that does that vocoder vocal sound. But yeah, I'm like, it's a good way to end the album. For me personally, I probably would have swapped Hey Lonely with Spotlight because for me, like, that's one of my favorite songs. But in general, I'm just like so thankful that this album delivered. I mean, like, it is just like, it is chef's kiss. I couldn't like really ask for a better album. I've listened to quite a bit of music this year. Like Dua Lipa's album, as everyone knows, is fantastic. The new Ariana Grande album is really great as well. I'm a little late to the track, but Maggie Rogers' album is fantastic as well. But this album just really blew everything. Oh, and Jessie Ware. But this album really just blew everything out of the water for me. I'm just so happy that this album came out in 2020 because it was something I personally really found to look forward to and to get excited about. And now that it's like post November 6th, because I was like, man, November 6th is so far away. But now that we're here, I'm just like, you know how like when you anticipate something and sometimes it doesn't pan out the way you expected it to? This panned out way more than I expected it to. It exceeded my expectations. Infinite Disco was such a great way to also promote the album because it brought to life some songs that I now like even more because of the performances. Also, can we talk about that slow remix with Donna Summer? Like, that was just incredible. Like all the lovers with a choir, so good. But yeah, anyway, I'm just so happy this album exists, and I hope all of you enjoyed it as well. Please leave some comments if you have any about what you thought of the album. I'd love to hear what you think, and yeah, if you'd like to subscribe, go ahead and do that. Not bothered by that at all. But I'm not going to encourage or like push you to subscribe. It's totally up to you. And yeah, I'll probably put some social links below as well in case you'd like to follow me on other platforms. That's gonna be it from me today, and well, thanks everyone for watching. This has been really fun for me. I hope this album is fun for you as well, and I'll catch y'all later. Bye bye.